Welcome to my book library. Before we begin our deep dive today, I have a special request for you, our valued listener. My book library is here for you, and I want to ensure we explore the books that matter most to your journey. What would you like us to summarize next? Are you seeking deeper wisdom on entrepreneurship and innovation? Are you looking for strategies to build a successful business in uncertain markets? Or perhaps you're curious about the scientific approach to creating products that customers truly want. Please share your next book request in the comments. Your choice will guide our future sessions. And now, let's begin today's immersive exploration. A very innovative and data-driven welcome to you, esteemed listener, to my book library. Today, we are embarking on a profound exploration of a book that has fundamentally reshaped the global landscape of entrepreneurship, product development, and modern business strategy. We are immersing ourselves in Eric Ries's groundbreaking and essential work, The Lean Startup: How Today's Entrepreneurs Use Continuous Innovation to Create Radically Successful Businesses. This book is far more than a manual for Silicon Valley tech founders. It is a revolutionary philosophy and a rigorous methodology for anyone in startups, large corporations, non-profits, or government who aims to build a sustainable venture under conditions of extreme uncertainty. Eric Ries, drawing from his own painful and educational experiences with startup failures, including his time at IMVU, presents a systematic, scientific approach for creating and managing successful startups. He completely upends the traditional business plan model, which he argues is a relic of a more predictable industrial age, and instead offers a dynamic, adaptive framework designed to help startups iterate quickly, learn what customers truly want and will pay for, and, most critically, avoid the catastrophic waste of building products that nobody will use. Our session today will be an extensive, comprehensive, and detailed exploration. We will first unpack the core philosophy and principles of the Lean Startup methodology. We will then dive deep into its beating heart, the build, measure, learn feedback loop. We will dissect the crucial concept of the minimum viable product, MVP, and explore the art of innovation accounting to distinguish between vanity metrics and actionable metrics. We will investigate the different engines of growth that power sustainable businesses and learn the disciplined approach to making the pivot or persevere decision. Finally, we will examine the organizational structures and adaptive techniques, like the 5 Whys, required to foster a culture of continuous innovation and resilience. So, let us begin this essential journey to discover how to build a business that is not only efficient, but also radically adaptive, resilient, and relentlessly focused on creating genuine value in the face of the unknown. Part 1. The Foundation: Vision, Steer, and Accelerate. Eric Ries begins by establishing a new definition of a startup and outlining the core pillars of the Lean Startup methodology, framing it as a new theory as entrepreneurial management. A new definition of a startup. A startup is a human institution designed to create a new product or service under conditions of extreme uncertainty. This definition is critical because it is not defined by size, industry, or sector. A startup can be 2 people in a garage, a team within a Fortune 500 company, or a non-profit organization launching a new initiative. The defining characteristic is the context of extreme uncertainty. Nobody knows who the customer is, what the product should be, or which business model will work. The 3 pillars of the Lean Startup methodology. 1. Vision. This is the founder's enduring belief about a successful future. It is the why, the fundamental change the startup wants to create in the world. This vision is the guiding star and remains relatively fixed. 1. Steer. This is the dynamic, iterative heart of the methodology. It involves a continuous process of testing the hypotheses that underpin the vision and adapting the strategy based on vigorous customer feedback. This is where the startup makes the critical decision to pivot, change strategy, or persevere. Stay the course. 2. Accelerate. As the startup learns and validates its path, it focuses on optimizing its engine of growth, building upon what works, and scaling its operations efficiently. This is about speed and growth, but growth that is informed by validated learning. Ries introduces the powerful and central analogy of driving a car. The vision is your destination. Steering is the continuous, minute-by-minute process of making small adjustments to the wheel based on the road conditions, real-world customer feedback, to stay on course. You don't set the wheel once based on a map, the business plan, and hope for the best. You are constantly looking at the road and steering. This philosophy of continuous course correction is a radical departure from the launch and hope or execute the plan models of traditional management. Part 2. The build, measure, learn feedback loop, the engine of discovery. The core engine of the lean startup is the build, measure, learn feedback loop. Ries argues that the goal of a startup's early exits is not just to build products, make money, or serve customers. The most important goal is to learn. This loop is the disciplined process for achieving that validated learning as quickly and efficiently as possible. Step 1. Build the minimum viable product, MVP. The first step is to turn your idea into a tangible product. But the goal is emphatically not to build a perfect, fully featured, polished product. The goal is to build a minimum viable product, MVP. Definition and purpose of the MVP. The MVP is that version of a new product which allows a team to collect the maximum amount of validated learning about customers with the least effort. It is not necessarily a smaller or cheaper version of a final product. It is a specific tool designed to test the most critical hypotheses about your business. Its sole purpose is to begin the process of learning, not to be the first revenue-generating product. Leap of faith assumptions. The MVP is designed to test what Ries calls the leap of faith assumptions. These are the fundamental hypotheses that, if proven wrong, will cause the entire business to fail. The two most critical are: 1. The value hypothesis. Does this product deliver real value to customers once they are using it? Does it solve a meaningful problem or fulfill a deep need? 2. The growth hypothesis. How will new customers discover this product? How will the business attract, convert, and retain users? Examples and types of MVPs. Ries provides numerous examples. The concierge MVP. Instead of building software, you manually deliver the service to a small group of customers. For example, if you envision a meal planning app, you could personally act as a nutritionist and chef for a few families to learn about their real needs. The Wizard of Oz MVP. The product appears to be automated to the user, but is actually powered by humans behind the scenes. This tests the user experience without building complex tech. That does not contribute directly to testing these fundamental assumptions. Step 2. Measure. Innovation accounting. Once the MVP is in the hands of early adopters, the startup enters the measure phase. This is not about tracking data for data's sake. It is about practicing innovation accounting, a rigorous, quantitative alternative to traditional accounting, designed specifically for environments of extreme uncertainty. Establishing the baseline. The first step is to use the MVP to establish a real baseline of how customers behave right now. How many sign up? How many use the core feature? How many come back? This is your starting point. Tuning the engine, the startup then makes iterative improvements to the product, marketing, and positioning, moving from the baseline MVP toward the ideal. This could involve A/B testing different features, changing the onboarding flow, or adjusting the messaging. Actionable metrics versus vanity metrics. This is a crucial distinction. Vanity metrics might make you feel good, but are dangerous because they don't offer clear guidance for action. Examples include total registered users, page views, or number of downloads. These numbers can go up and to the right, even if the business is failing. Actionable metrics, in contrast, demonstrate clear cause and effect and are tied to the specific hypotheses you are testing. Examples include the percentage of users who complete the core onboarding flow, the activation rate, users who experience the product's core value, or the monthly retention rate for a specific cohort. Cohort analysis. Instead of looking at cumulative data, which can hide underlying trends, you analyze the behavior of groups of customers who signed up in the same time period. A cohort. This allows you to see if your product changes are actually improving the experience for new users over time. For example, Are users who signed up in March retaining better than those who signed up in February after you made a key change? The 3 A's of metrics. Good innovation accounting metrics should be actionable. They must demonstrate clear cause and effect. Accessible. The reports must be simple enough for everyone to understand. Auditable. The data must be credible and trustworthy. Teams must be able to test the data for themselves. Step 3. Learn, pivot, or persevere. The final and most critical step is to synthesize the data collected into genuine, validated learning and make a fundamental strategic decision. Pivot or persevere. Persevere. If the data from the MVP and subsequent experiments validates your core leap of faith hypotheses, you continue on your current strategic path. You double down, adding features and optimizing the product based on what you've learned. Pivot. A pivot is a structured strategic course correction designed to test a new fundamental hypothesis about the product, business model, or engine of growth. It is not an admission of failure. It is a courageous scientific decision to change a major plank of the strategy when the current path is not leading to sustainable growth. Ries identifies several types of pivots. Zoom-in pivot. What was previously considered a single feature becomes the whole product. Zoom-out pivot. What was considered the whole product becomes a single feature of a much larger system. Customer segment pivot. The product solves a real problem, but for a different customer segment than originally envisioned. Customer need pivot. Through customer discovery, you realize the fundamental problem you're solving is different. Platform pivot. Changing from an application to a platform, or vice versa. Business architecture pivot. Switching from a high-margin, low-volume business, B2C, to a low-margin, high-volume business, B2B, or vice versa. Value capture pivot. Changing the monetization or pricing model. Engine of growth pivot. Switching between viral, sticky, and paid growth models. Channel pivot. Changing the path to customers, from online to direct sales. The ultimate goal of the entire build, measure, learn loop is to minimize the total time through the loop. The faster you can iterate, the faster you can learn, and the less time, money, and energy you will waste on ideas and strategies that do not work. This speed creates a formidable competitive advantage. Part 3. The engine of growth. Building a sustainable business. Once a startup has begun to validate its value and growth hypotheses, it must focus on tuning its engine of growth. Ries identifies 3 primary engines that drive sustainable businesses. The sticky engine of growth. This engine focuses primarily on customer retention and loyalty. The goal is to attract customers and then keep them engaged for the long term, creating a loyal user base. The key metric is the customer retention rate, or conversely, the churn rate. The fundamental equation is new customer acquisition rate equals customer churn rate equals growth. If your churn rate is lower than your acquisition rate, you will grow. Companies like Facebook, LinkedIn, and many subscription services, like Netflix, rely on this engine. The focus is on improving customer lifetime value through better engagement and reduced churn. 2. The viral engine of growth. This engine relies on the non-conscious, organic spread of the product. Growth happens as a natural side effect of the product's normal use. Every user naturally brings in more users through embedded referrals, network effects, and word of mouth. The key metric is the viral coefficient, the number of new users each existing 5 user brings in. If the viral coefficient is greater than 1.0, you have exponential viral growth. If it is less than 1, the viral loop will eventually die out. Products like WhatsApp, TikTok, and early Hotmail are classic examples. The focus here is on optimizing the product's inherent virality and reducing friction in the referral process. The paid engine of growth. This is the most traditional model. You grow by acquiring customers through advertising, sales teams, and other paid channels. The key metric here is the relationship between the lifetime value, LTV, of a customer and the customer acquisition cost, CAC. For sustainable growth, the LTV must be significantly greater than the CAC, typically by a factor of 3 or more. The profit from each customer, LTV, CAC, can then be reinvested into acquiring more customers. Most traditional businesses and many SaaS companies use this engine. The focus is on optimizing marketing channels to lower CAC and increasing customer value to raise LTV. A startup must focus on tuning one primary engine of growth at a time. Trying to optimize for all 3 simultaneously leads to strategic confusion, diluted effort, and wasted resources. Part 4. Building an adaptive organization. The 5 whys and continuous innovation. For the lean startup methodology to be more than a temporary experiment, it must be embedded in the organization's culture, processes, and structure. This requires new ways of working, thinking, and problem-solving. The 5 whys technique. This is a powerful, simple technique for root cause analysis, borrowed from Toyota's production system. When a problem occurs, you ask why 5 times to drill down from the superficial symptom to the underlying systemic cause. Example: symptom, a new software release causes a critical server outage. Why? Because a junior engineer made a deployment error. Why 2? Why 3? Because the senior engineer responsible for training was overwhelmed with other feature work. Why 4? Because the team is understaffed and prioritizes new features over operational excellence. Why 5? Because the company's success metrics reward shipping new features, not system stability. The natural but wrong reaction is to blame the junior engineer. The 5 whys reveals that the real cause is a systemic issue. Flawed incentives and resource allocation. The solution is not a one-time fix, but an investment in better training, potentially hiring, and revisiting success metrics. The investment required to fix the problem should be proportional to the problem's severity. A small bug might require a small investment. A major outage requires a major investment in process improvement. This technique builds a culture of accountability and continuous improvement, replacing a culture of blame. Creating an adaptive organization, the lean startup in a large company, Ries also addresses the significant challenge of fostering innovation within large, established companies. He argues for the creation of autonomous, cross-functional startup teams within the corporation. These teams need to be insulated from the performance review processes and resource allocation systems designed for executing known established business models. They need their own sandbox for experimentation, a space with clear boundaries, example, a budget, a time limit, but the autonomy to run rapid build, measure, learn loops without being strangled by corporate bureaucracy. This allows large companies to explore disruptive innovations without jeopardizing their core business. The pacing of batches. Ries introduces the concept of working in small batches, a principle borrowed from lean manufacturing. Instead of building a huge product with hundreds of features over many months and then doing a big bang, release a large batch, work in small incremental pieces. Release a single feature, measure its impact, learn from it, and then build the next one. Small batches dramatically reduce the risk of a catastrophic failure, allow for faster feedback, and enable the team to correct course immediately if something is wrong. They are the practical manifestation of the build, measure, learn loop in day-to-day operations. Part 5. Wrapping it all together, the science of entrepreneurship. The lean startup is, at its core, the application of the scientific method to entrepreneurship. It treats every startup as a grand experiment. The vision is the overarching hypothesis. The product is the experimental apparatus, and the customer behavior is the data. The goal is not to prove you were right all along, but to rigorously and ruthlessly find the truth as quickly as possible, even if it means admitting your initial hypothesis was wrong. This methodology systematically replaces the traditional product development mindset with a customer development and validated learning mindset. The central question shifts from "can we build it?" to "should we build it?" and "do they want it?" and "will they use it and pay for it?" By embracing this framework of validated learning, iterative design, and a disciplined willingness to pivot, entrepreneurs and innovators can dramatically reduce the immense waste of time, money, and human effort that has plagued startups for decades. They can build businesses that are not only more likely to succeed, but are also more resilient, more adaptive, more humane to work for, and ultimately, more focused on creating genuine value for real human beings. The future of innovation. As we conclude our deep and thorough exploration of the lean startup, the message is one of profound empowerment, intellectual rigor, and hope. Eric Ries has provided a tangible, actionable playbook for navigating the inherent chaos and uncertainty of creating something new. The principles of the build, measure, learn loop, the disciplined use of the MVP, the rigor of innovation accounting, and the strategic courage to pivot are not just a collection of tactics. They represent a new modern philosophy of management. This philosophy is universally applicable to the solo entrepreneur in a garage, the product team inside a Fortune 500 company, and the social entrepreneur trying to solve a pressing global problem. The future belongs to those individuals and institutions that can learn the fastest. The Lean Startup provides the framework to make that learning systematic, intentional, and relentlessly focused on creating value for real human beings. It is a call to action to stop guessing and start learning. So go forth and experiment. Build, measure, and learn. And remember, in the face of overwhelming uncertainty, the only sustainable strategy is to learn your way to success. Thank you for your valuable time and for listening to this comprehensive audio summary in My Book Library. Thank you.